Welcome to the Confident Teacher's Compass. Thank you so much for putting your time and your energy into this course. I'm really excited to share this information with you because self-doubt, feeling like you're not good enough, really questioning your abilities as a teacher, and just lack of confidence, and this idea of imposter syndrome, these are all things that all teachers feel and experience at various points in their teaching for all different kinds of reasons. Now, what I've found in my experience as one of the go-to solutions or strategies to address your confidence is to have more training. And now this might be a little bit ironic to you that I'm saying this because this is a training. However, the training that you seek in order to help yourself feel more confident within teaching yoga, it really is not as effective as it could be, and is not as deeply transformational for you as a teacher if you first do not address why you're feeling a lack of confidence in the first place. And what is the true reasoning behind why you might be feeling this imposter syndrome or like you're not good enough? So the most important thing when it comes to tackling your self-doubt as a teacher and improving your confidence is to really observe where these feelings are coming from. What is the original source, or what is one of the sources of you feeling this way? And when we actually look to the source, and when we look at the root cause of why we're feeling insecure in our teaching, why we might be lacking confidence, why we feel like we're not good enough, that's when we can really begin to make substantial, more intentional and foundational changes that will really begin to make long-term shifts within not only the way we feel about ourselves when we teach, but just the way we feel about ourselves in life in general. Now, a big part of moving through these types of things, feeling doubtful, lacking confidence, is to actually understand what the purpose of these emotions are. Emotion is, you've probably heard this before, an energy, a feeling that is in motion. It wants to move, meaning it wants to be felt. It wants to be expressed in order to be moved out of you. Now, what often happens is when we feel these feelings that are a little bit uncomfortable, as I already mentioned, what we do is we try to go and we fix them. Oh, I feel doubtful. How can I fix that? I don't feel good enough. How can I fix that? And this is where we sometimes chase courses and trainings. And although they can be very good and helpful for us as teachers, and yes, they can help us be more confident, the underlying reason of our lack of confidence generally is not stemming from our experience as a teacher, but it is coming from something that has been happening or that occurred for many, many, many years, a long time ago. And generally, these things are coming up from when we were children. So the situation that often happens is when we are kids, we have emotions about something. And you can see this in children. They have the most raw emotions, and they feel them and they express them, and they're wild, and they don't care how they filter them or not. They just let them be felt. And in doing so, they let that move through them. Now, what happens somewhere along the way in our childhood into adulthood is we stop letting ourselves feel our feelings, and we try to strategize our way out of our feelings. Hence, I don't feel confident in my teaching. My strategy is I'm just going to do another training or another course. While those trainings and those courses are 100% beneficial and helpful, I'm not denying that they are. However, what we're missing there is this underlying understanding of why we might have these limiting beliefs of ourselves in the first place. So going back to, again, that instance or those many instances that generally happen when we are young, where we're told that our emotions are not okay to be shown, that it's not okay for us to be upset, to be mad, to be sad, to be disappointed. So we're generally governed, and we've been dealt with as children with one of these two approaches, or maybe both. Either we've had someone who has told us, shut that down, don't express that emotion, don't let that feeling move through you, shut that down now, because that is uncomfortable for the person who has to sit there and be with that child when they're having those emotions. Or we have someone who tries to fix it for us. Oh, what about this? Here's a distraction. Here's how you can avoid feeling these big feelings. I'm going to distract you with something else. I'm going to provide a strategy for you. I'm going to fix this for you. But again, when we go back to the understanding that emotions are literally energy in motion, and they want to be felt. They want to be expressed by the individual in order to be moved and released. Now, that again, as I said, is something that is much more acceptable when we're really, really little. And then as we get older and we get older and we get older, it becomes less and less acceptable. And we find more ways to avoid feeling feelings, to distract ourselves from feeling feelings, and we find more ways to fix the feeling that we're having that's uncomfortable, that's hard for us to move through, for us to actually experience, that sometimes is uncomfortable. So where we generally go from there is that the unexpressed emotion, the feeling that naturally wants to come through, to be experienced, to be expressed, to be released, we push that down, we avoid it, we distract ourselves, and what ends up happening, and this again is generally from a young age, is that those unexpressed feelings, those emotions that we have not let be moved and felt within, they turn into false core beliefs. And then we carry those false core beliefs with us throughout most of our lives. And this is why I'm saying that with your confidence as a teacher, with any type of self-doubt or any feelings of I'm not good enough or imposter syndrome that you're experiencing, this is literally been existing within you for much longer than you've been a teacher for. And it's very beautiful and very perfect because you have chosen to take on this role as a yoga teacher, which means that you actually, in your own divine co-creative way, have deliberately put yourself in a position to be exposed to your false core beliefs. How perfect. How amazing is that? It literally gives me tingles because I think it is just such a beautiful, freeing way for us to be able to see any type of these self-confidence issues that come up with our teaching. And what you can do is you can actually begin to look at these through the lens of opportunity. What a gift. So your feelings of imposter syndrome, your feelings of I'm not good enough when I teach yoga, if that ever comes up, whether it's this much or whether it's all the time, that is a gift that is trying to tell you, hey, I really want you to sit with this. I really want you to feel this. And I really want you to let this be experienced so that it can start to dissolve. And without those things actually being felt and expressed and experienced, we do not let them dissolve and we keep perpetuating the false core beliefs that we have, the false ideas and perceptions that we have about ourselves that would make us believe that I'm not confident or I'm not good enough. So this is one of the first things within your process of navigating your way, having this confident teacher compass, is to firstly understand that these gifts of self-doubt, these are opportunities, firstly, for you to sit and observe and understand that they're trying to tell you something. And they're often coming from a place that is much more deep-seated than just this surface level of being a teacher. But rather, your teaching is giving you the gift of bringing out of the woodwork of you, bringing these things out, these false core beliefs that you have about yourself, exposing exposing them. Why? So they can be dissolved. You can start to develop a more loving relationship with yourself, and in doing so, you will be able to build more confidence and more self-assurance in your teaching. So before we move on to the next video, I just want to recap by saying that when you feel this imposter syndrome, or you feel your self-doubt coming through, and you first and foremost take it upon yourself to do more training, more skill enhancing, more whatever that is, more courses, but you're not firstly looking at where that self-doubt is actually stemming from, then you're working from the outside in. And when you work from the outside in, it can only go so far. It can only go so deep before something else will resurface again. And I'm not saying this is the end all be all and this is a quick fix. That's not what this is. This is in fact the total opposite. This is a willingness on your part to reflect and to actually sit with some of the discomfort of what you feel around your capabilities as a yoga teacher. When you take some of these feelings that you're having, you let them be expressed. You let yourself feel them, and you don't have the intention of avoiding them, trying to fix them, trying to suppress them, or trying to strategize your way out of them. Then from there, you can begin to enter into courses or trainings or any additional type of learning that will support your growth as a teacher with more of a foundational change. A foundational change that creates shift and transformation from the inside to the out. And that is one of the most important components, first and foremost, to you looking at the gift of your self-doubt and inherently, automatically, as a result, becoming more confident in yourself as a person and as a yoga teacher.